All right, Matt, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Great, Jason. Good to see you. And hello to the audience that's watching today.
Yeah. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Yeah, I'm Matt McIver. I'm the founder and CEO of Commence Studio. Commence Studio is a B2B brand and e commerce agency based in Reno, Tahoe, Nevada, primarily serving B2B enterprise in the tech space and then startup CPG on the e commerce side.
Very cool.
Love mountain biking, fly fishing, being a family man outside of the business, and Um, I say a retired graphic designer. I started in the craft and went to art school and started the agency and more focused on the sales, leadership, and development side.
That's awesome. I kind of started out as a graphic designer. And yeah, it's really hard to transition from a designer to an owner. That's it's pretty difficult. So how did you get started? Why did you start your agency?
Yeah, it was kind of happened by chance and a long journey. I was 15 years old doing graphic design in high school. I had a screen printing class as well, and really kind of found a strong vision for my career and my life early on. I was very fortunate and still count my blessings to this day. A lot of people, kind of don't have a vision of where they want to go in life. And, I said, I want to be a designer for a living. And then I was like, what's the pinnacle of success of being a graphic designer? Oh, own an agency, right? So at 15, I said I wanted to own an agency doing design and branding, and the course to get there was not linear, as we all know. It's been a roller coaster. Started off in the sign industry, designing vehicle graphics, banners, logos for small town contractors and such. And then I went to art school in Seattle. Rest in peace, Art Institute of Seattle. For those of you who might be listening or went to an art institute. And yeah, cut my teeth to learn the profession and did graphic design and commercial photography at the Art Institute. Um, and really, why I switched from graphic design to photography was like, oh, I don't want to sit in front of a desk my entire life, which maybe we can talk about a little bit further in this show. And just loved that the camera was a connection to other people. It was kind of keys to the city. It felt like it got me through a lot of connections in a lot of wonderful places in the world. Moved back from Seattle to Reno, Nevada, northern Nevada here. We're nowhere near Vegas. So for those who are listening, we are very close to Lake Tahoe, beautiful mountain town, college town, and started at a screen printing shop doing commercial screen printing. Thanks to my education that I had in high school, was able to get into the commercial printing world fairly easily. Worked there for many years, had a stint rebranding the sign shop that I worked at in high school. And then I got into the agency side. I was working for a couple different agencies here as a freelance designer and web developer. WordPress, 2013 was becoming a big thing at the time, and was doing that. And then I had a boss that was the creative director, and we were searching around for an illustrator, and I came across an illustrator on Behance that was based here in Reno, Tahoe. Amazing talent. His name was Peter Laxalt, and my boss, for some reason, had no desire to meet this guy. And turns out he was 19 years old. I'm 23 at the time. We go to coffee because I'm like, I just want to meet this, amazing talent and that's here local. And Pete and I sat down for coffee, and he was like, I'm an illustrator. I'm a creative director of a screen printing shop. And I was like, oh, I've been in screen printing. I'm a creative director as well, but I also have a photography background that complements your illustration background. And he's like, well, I just put in my 2-month notice at my job. And I was like, well, I'm kind of on the fence about my job. And we're like, what if we teamed up and bought a business license together to take on all these freelance clients that we had? And that was the start of it. We shook hands that night after meeting each other for the first time, had 2 cups of coffee, highly caffeinated. And that would be the rocket engine that sent us off. And it's amazing that it's been 10 years now. Pete and I were partners for about 6 of the 10 years. I bought him out in 2020. Um,
What gave you the courage? What led you? Because there's a lot of people listening that started with someone, and they're trying to decide when's the right time to buy, or should I buy them out? Should they buy me out? How did that go?
so speaking of like the partnerships side of things, um, I'll kind of add a little bit of context here. We started this business with $500 between the two of us to our names. We were both starving artists, right? And we built it up to, at one point be about $1 million a year in revenue. And so, as we know, those that are operating agencies, it's not easy. And it takes a lot of entrepreneurial grit to build and rebuild and fail fast and pick yourself back up. And, Pete was out in New York in 2020. We had a satellite agency out there. He had moved from Nevada. And, there's a mixture of burnout for him and just realizing that he didn't want to be an entrepreneur anymore. He's a very talented individual. We're still brothers and friends today, have a lot of respect for each other and stay in touch. But he kind of just came to me one time. We were having an annual retreat with our team, and he was a different person. I could tell, he kind of swelled up and broke down to me. He's like, Matt, I can't do this anymore. I need to go in-house. I'm going to go work with one of our clients. And that client had tried to poach him for 5 years. And, it was a very mutual agreement of, I understand where you're at in your life. And we gave it our all as partners and really appreciated your time and inspiration to our team and our culture and your craft. And, it kind of became a mutual agreement, and then the money got involved, and then all the partnership agreements got highlighted, and ultimately we had to remove our egos from the situation of what was the company worth, and we came to a buyout agreement over a 3-year term, and ultimately fell upon our partnership agreement that we had drafted through LegalZoom. So for those of you that are, lesson learned here is like LegalZoom was very boilerplate. If I had done it again, if I do ever have another partnership, I'd want an attorney or lawyer involved to really craft something that is unique to our situation. But the basis of our agreement was that he was due his capital account balance, his 50%. And so that's how it kind of unfolded. And, like I said, we said at the buyout, our number one agreement is like, even though we became friends the day we started a business together, like we wanted to be friends afterwards, and so to not let any thing kind of spoil the water.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, that does not happen much. I always tell everybody too, when you're starting out, you got to kind of think about the end in mind, or what's the worst case scenario. I started a couple businesses, even as I've been doing this for the past decade. I've started a couple side businesses with other people that I always thought about the end in mind, just because of the first companies that we had and that kind of stuff, and that saved us, because you never know. Like, it could be a week, could be a month, could be a year, could be a decade when that person just changes, or you change, right? Like, running an agency is tough. We're constantly, I tell everybody, running a business in general, like, you're either running into the storm or you're about to go, or you're in the storm. Like, that's it. Like, there's never, like, we were talking kind of on the pre-show a little bit, like, there's lots of people out there that paint like sunshine and rainbows, and it's so easy to do blah, 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 and just buy this system and you'll be whatever. It's not that way. And I even tell people when they join our mastermind, our community, I'm like, look, we'll solve your biggest challenge, but that solution will create other problems. Like, okay, we just got you a ton of business. Well, now we just blew up your delivery system.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's that whole method of like, build the plane as you fly it, or do you build the runway first and then build the plane? And, the first iteration with the partnership was totally building it as we were flying the plane. And after the buyout, really started to reassess, like, how do we build a strong foundation, a strong runway? And I think I've built probably 5 airplanes in the last 4 years, just really testing the market, testing what we've been doing.
Did you start off with like the really shitty plane? And now are you in a more decent plane now for you?
It was an amazing plane. It was a rocket ship, but we really took off quickly, and yeah, it was a rocket that got us pretty far, but ultimately there was some holes in the ship.
Like what, looking back at it, what were some of the holes in the ship?
Yeah, it's a great question. Really, lack of process. As we scaled up, we freestyled a lot of things, and ultimately crafted a business around um, the craft and the design and the talent that we had in house. And so our portfolio started to become very homogenized in a way, not very distinct brand to brand. It was really like the craft of the talent that we had. And so we were scaling one type of design or illustration, and then that had to be taught to interns or new junior graphic designers, new developers as we got into the tech side of things, developing e-commerce websites. And there was no documentation, no SOP. It was every time we landed a client, we were building something completely custom for them, and we were just really freestyling the process the whole way. So we dropped a lot of balls, just juggling everything, and client satisfaction, turnover. We've maintained a very strong net promoter score. Like overall, we lead with quality, and like while we might be quality, we might not always be on time, or we might not always be on budget. I've probably given away over $1 million to $1.5 million of creative and technical services over the years, just not understanding the value of what we were doing and the strategy and the consultation, the free ideas we were giving away at the table. And so that really led me about a year ago. There was a lot of talk in the industry of like value-based pricing. That was another thing I found not scalable. It took a very entrepreneurial MBA mindset to have these discussions with leads to ultimately capitalize on the value you'd produce for them. I was trying to train sales rep during that time, and very intelligent person, but it was hard to take the 15 years of design and business knowledge that I've had as an entrepreneur to connect to other businesses and extract the inputs to put together a proposal. And then again, the proposal was very customized and bespoke. And so we've moved into a productized format recently, where I took our sales cycle from 88 days to about 8 days, because I now have a catalog of 3 tiers of identity, 3 tiers of Shopify sites, 3 tiers of brand strategy, you name it, 3 tiers of packaging. All of our service lines have a basic package to a pro and a plus plan. The pro and the plus geared towards more mid-market or enterprise brands, and then the basic ones are very much geared towards the startups. And so I can have those conversations now with the leads, really see where they're at in business, what size of scale they are, what kind of budgets they have, and then position our product catalog very quickly to our leads. So that's been more of like building the strong foundation. What are we selling here? Like we have actual products, we have SKUs. It's not, let me, creatively extrapolate a bespoke plan. And I still will if it's the right lead, and our products are ultimately providing solutions to our clients' biggest problems. And just after repetition, we really saw like, oh, we don't really have to reinvent the process every single time. That we can still have unlimited creativity while having some very strong boundaries.
Do you feel that when clients look at options for them to choose from, are you telling them, here are your 3 options? Or are you telling them, here's the option that based on what you told me, I recommend?
That's a great question, and something that I'm still R&Ding a bit and testing. I've had feedback on both ends of the spectrum of, well, you're giving me options. This is making me insecure around what your best recommendation is. We use PandaDoc for our contracts and proposals, and it's got an amazing system in there for a quote builder. And how I always put my best foot forward is I show them options, because the psychology is that consumers like options, and use it for anchoring, both low and high. But really, out of the 3 tiers, I select with a black checkbox on each one which option I recommend for them. That part has been a little unclear on a couple of leads recently. If I don't get the opportunity to like present the proposal to them on another call and a screen share, I try to do a Loom video recording where I can send them that. And if they watch it and if they do the screen call, they understand that those are options and that those are our strongest recommendation, but they have the option to go to the larger package or to one of the lower packages. And so it's been an evolving process, but it gets clearer and clearer each time.
One of the things that, I mean, I just recently went through this. I was chatting with an agency to help us out, and they gave us a ton of options. And I almost like felt like an elephant was sitting on my chest, because I was like, oh, I got more than one decision to make. Because the one decision to make is, do I want to work with your agency?
Mm-hmm.
Now the other decision, you told me to choose all these different ones. And I felt like I was back in like one of those American diners, when you go like a Cheesecake Factory is a great example.
Yep.
Their menu is so fucking big. Like I get so overwhelmed. I don't know what to eat. Like 20 minutes later, the waiter comes and like, you ready to make a decision? I'm like, no, like there's too many options. Like just, I either want
take
steak,
away some of the
chicken.
pages for me.
Oh God. Yeah. Like finally I just tell my wife, I'm like, just pick, like, you know what I like, I just can't pick. And I get so overwhelmed that like, it's stressful. And then it's like, it goes back to the example that you told me, or the person said, it was like, well, I feel like you should be telling me, right? Like we got to think as an agency, or someone's coming to me as an agency. I want them to look at me as an advisor. And I like that you say, this is the option I recommend. One of the other things I'll tell you is, don't ever send a proposal without reviewing it with them. Just don't even do it. They don't like, you won't have anybody ghost you anymore. And plus then you can see how they react. But I've always seen it where, and it's always worked for me or any of the agencies that have been in our mastermind. They're like, like you can have a productized service, but you have it in the background. You don't let them know it. Like that's how you can scale, because you have it. You have the gold, silver, and platinum, but you don't ever want to tell your clients about the gold, silver, platinum, because then they start looking at you as a commodity and just barking orders to you. Versus I want my clients, when I was running the agency, to come to me with their biggest problem, because they know that I can come up with a solution, fix it, and save them time.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to go to someone and they go option A, B, or C, I'm going to automatically go, man, I'm going to have to manage these people a little bit more. And that requires me more time. That's just psychologically, that's how I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the buyer that you go, or the prospect that you're going after too. But those are just my 2 cents. Like there's the coolest thing is there's 1,000 ways to do it.
Yep.
Just because we said one way and you're doing the other way doesn't mean we're both wrong or we're both right. You just got to do what works for you. That's the cool thing about interviewing and chatting with agency owners all over the world, is like, there's 1,000 ways to do it. Just do the way you want.
Yeah. I saw a bit of content that you published recently about, do I put pricing on my website? And, I was kind of getting to that point, like prototyping it out. Like, do we put some pricing tables out here just to, weed through the qualifications? But then, the debate of, commodification and, our artist ego of being, craftsmen, craftswomen, that commodity is the last thing. And especially with AI that's coming out, image generation, content generation, it's the industry is becoming more and more commodified as we talk, and really I want to be a guardian of the craft, but at the same time, I want to be a successful business owner and an operations team and scale it out a bit. And so that it is great to hear that feedback, and not go full disclosure on the website and pull back the reins a little bit, kind of keep that as our cards, behind the table here, and display what is right based off of the advisory consulting position, kind of blending that value-based coaching into the productization model there.
Yeah, and even on the flip side, so I'll even talk against what I'm even talking about.
Yeah.
So we had a mastermind member, David. He's since sold his agency for $1 gazillion. He would post his prices on his website. He would have options, right? So going against everything, and he would charge like $100 to $200 a month. But what he was doing, he was creating a factory. And so the funny part was about this story. We would, I remember the first time he came to one of our mastermind meetings. It was right before Inbound, HubSpot's conference, and I had a mastermind. We met in person, and I already knew his pricing and how many clients he had and that kind of stuff. And I would have him go in front of the room. I'd say, tell everybody what you do, and everybody guess what his pricing would be. And everybody's like, $5,000 a month, 10,000, whatever it is, right? Because I'm always telling people to raise their pricing. Like I truly believe in that, like in order to get there. But his goal was different. His goal was to create a factory, this agency factory, that's so easy for someone to make a decision and they'll forget about what they're paying because $100 to $200 a month is nothing. Well, he wound up growing over 8 figures, thousands and thousands of clients. He created the right infrastructure for it and wound up selling to his biggest client for, a lot of money. He doesn't have to do anything anymore. But it just tells you, like, you just got to figure out, are you wanting to build a factory where, yeah, I'll take your order. Yeah, here it is. Here's your fries. Kind of like that one movie, The Founder, where he talks about craft, right? The McDonald's. He's like, here's your burger. Like the first time he got the hamburger, he was like, I just ordered. Yeah, here it is. Right. Yep. They created this factory versus going to this fancy steak place where you have to wait 2 hours because they think like you think they're prepping it and cracking the little peppers and doing all the little things, which they're not. They're probably just laughing backstage and smoking a joint or whatever. Then here's your steak. It took them 15 minutes, right? It's all about perception. What do you want to create? That's the cool part.
Absolutely.
What's one thing that I haven't asked you that you think would benefit some listeners listening in and right now about scaling their agency?
Yeah, I was trying to do a little thought before our call here. Really, I'm really been reflecting a lot on, people are our greatest asset. And if we treat them poorly, they go quickly, and really something that I've been very humbled by is my tenure of my employees. Our creative director was our 4th hire. She's been with us here for going on 8 years of the 10 years now. Our project manager, he's been here for 5 years. And we shrunk a lot over the last year. Business, we were 8 people, 8-person team. My goal's always been to be about 12 to 15. So we're kind of in a rebuilding mode. We're down to 3, including myself. And, before the layoffs, we had other people that were here for 6 and 4 years as well. And really building a strong culture is something that I take pride in. And that's, ultimately, more than money. And, money's nice. It allows us to do amazing things in life, but especially being a new father, I have a 7-month-old at home. I really value time and freedom. And so offering those same things to my team, they have lives beyond these 4 walls behind the 9 to 5 and offering a flexible culture. We're a Gallup strengths focused team. We run on EOS. So a lot of these platforms have helped provide the tools for retention and strong culture, but really owning my visionary role and like understanding, where's the company going, what opportunities I see, what weaknesses, threats do I see, being fully transparent. Like we have a level 10 meeting every Monday and show all the KPIs. I show all the balances of the bank accounts. I show performance of the team. So we run off of a lot of critical numbers, and the team really values that I'm, not holding my cards close to my chest, that I'm hiding that, oh, like we just lost a client, or we got these leads that I'm developing. They love hearing all of that stuff, and has been a strong thing for being an employer for retention and tenure, but also just believing in transparency and just believing in the people beyond more than just an asset or more than just a paycheck. Um, I've gone above and beyond to really provide at times for them, and I've taken pay cuts myself when needed, and other opportunities that I can bring more money home to support my family, and really just everything from health and wellness benefits, gym benefits, the 401k matching. We do a paid week off in the summer on the 4th of July. We do a paid week off around Christmas time. And just being an empathetic, leader, like understanding, like I'll support you through grievance. I'll support you through health issues. I just really firmly believe in just taking care of our people, and more than just the factory, like really want to have social impact. I want our companies to have environmental impact. We've gone through some, B Corporation assessments and such like that, and really driving with purpose, and like the quality of craft is why I started this. Is I want to have significance in the world beyond just how much money is in my bank account, or what kind of property can I buy. It's really important that I can impact these individuals' lives, and it's 3 to 8 people right now, maybe 15 again someday, but it's amazing to be able to see my employees are able to buy a house, they're able to get married, they're able to have children, and just build each other up so that all ships rise, and that's really been my philosophy as an agency owner that brought a lot of joy to my life.
Well, awesome. Well, congratulations on all this success. You're doing it the right way. I see when people fail, they're doing it with what's in it for me, and how do I get to the top of the mountain, no matter how many times I step on the person below me, in order to reach the next part in the mountain, and then that person's like stepped on, and people do it the wrong way. So thanks so much for sharing that. Congrats on your success. And if you guys, look, running an agency is lonely as shit. And doing it by yourself is very difficult, especially if you don't have a business partner, or possibly you have a business partner that's not pulling their weight anymore because they're checked out. That's why really we've created our community of like-minded people that can really kind of help each other all up to the top of the mountain and really enjoy the journey. Because at the end of the day, all of you listening, you don't want to grow your agency. You want more time and more freedom to do the things that you love. That's it. And if you want to be around really cool people, give us 45 minutes. Go to our website, go to agencymastery360.com, click on the scale, give us 45 minutes to learn more about your agency and see where you're going, what your biggest challenge is. And we'll see if we can help you out. If we can help you out, great. If we can't, we'll tell you, and we'll actually point you in the direction to go do it. Because at the end of the day, I wanted to create a resource I wish I had. And that's what we've done. So go there now. And until next time, have a swank day. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you want more content like this, make sure you click on the link on the screen, or check out your most popular podcast platform where the full episode is there. And until next time, have a swank day. What are you doing? Go check it out. Click on the link. I'll see you soon.